What's up guys, welcome back to another video, and this video is going to be a UI challenge guys. In this video, let's go ahead and do the screen on the left. Okay, this screen is nothing but the screen of an application that allows you to book an appointment with your hairstylist. So this is what the designers would call a clean grayscale design. Okay, if you notice, there are just two colors used in this entire screen. One is black and the other one is white, but the colors are used efficiently in such a way that the information that is conveyed here is being presented in a very neat way, right? So this is a clean design, rather a clean design. That's what I was trying to say. So let's go ahead and do the screen, guys. If you notice, we have a horizontally scrollable. This is scrollable. Probably the user has simply used these two digits repeatedly, but I assume that this is scrollable, and then this displays the days of the week. And it's also selectable. Okay, you can select the you can choose an option from this particular list, and then there is some probably the location, since in the screen it's given under where, right? So this is either the location or the name of the shop probably, and these are the services that the user has opted for, and these are the list of barbers, I assume. And this is the timing in which the appointment is fixed, and we have a button for booking the entire appointment. And as you can see, once again I would like to point out that the designer has used black and white efficiently and created out this clean grayscale design. Let's go ahead and use Flutter to implement this in your mobile application. First of all, I have a blank application that, where is it? First of all, I've scaffolded out a blank application, and inside the assets directory I have a set of fonts as well as 3 images. Okay, let's go ahead and start writing this application. First, what I'll do is I'll remove the debug false. Okay, this is the banner that we'll have on top, and inside the scaffold I'll have 3 variables. First, inside state, where selected date equals 18 maybe, selected barber equals Jonathan, and where selected time equals some 12:30. Fine. Now I have 3 variables that I'll be using to store my preferences. Okay, the user interacts with the screen and then selects selects the date, the barber, as well as the time in which the appointment he needs the appointment, and those 3 I'm using 3 variables to store his preferences, store his choices rather. Inside the scaffold, first I'll have an app bar, elevation I'll set it to 0, and then background colors dot white, and title I'll give a text. Inside this I'll choose I'll write a booking style, text style, font family for sans, font size 16.2, color I'll give it as colors dot black. Fine. After this I'll go ahead and center title true, and we need one more thing, right? As per the design spec, we need the back button as well. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and leading save this. Why is it showing an error? Oh, I didn't close. Save this. Let's run this on a device and see how this looks before proceeding. Okay. Alright, now as you can see on the mobile device, you see the heading, but you don't see the arrow. That's because we didn't specify the color as now you can see the this part has been completed, right? The app bar part. Now let's go ahead and do this scrollable list, horizontally scrollable list of dates and days, obviously. So there's also like a white colored thing to this, and then there's some shadow effect, right? Let's go ahead and try to recreate that as it is. After the app bar, I'll do the body. Someone was asking me, wait, just select everything, right click, there will be something called as format document, give it, and it will automatically format the entire document for you, right? So that's an easier way of anyway, let's move on. I'm having a list view, and inside this I have some children. I'll use a stack so that I can place a container with the white. I'll show you children. The first one will be a container, and this container will have a height of about 100 units maybe, and decoration would be box decoration, box shadow to get that shadow at the bottom, blur radius, I'll give it as box shadow. We need a box shadow first of all, that's box shadow, and inside this I'll give the blur radius as 3.0 maybe, and color will be colors dot black dot with opacity some 0.2 maybe, so that the shadow appears. You'll see that, wait, spread radius would be some 4.2, and this will be colors dot white. Fine, save this. Now you can see that on the screen we have a nice looking deck on which, and the deck has a bottom shadow so that it looks floating above the rest of the screen. Let's go ahead and place these choices, the list of days and dates, so that he can choose one from this. So inside this, since I'm using a stack, I can simply overlay that using a position, right? After this, I'll add a position widget, and inside this position widget I'll give top some 20 maybe, and left 15, right another 15, and child will be container. This container will give it a height of some 60 maybe, and the child of this container will be a list view. This will be the horizontally scrollable list view. Scroll direction, I could have directly given the list view here itself, right? But it will show that it needs a specific height, and try giving that, you will face that error, and then you will understand why I used a container first and then gave a height for this container and used the list view inside that particular container. Okay, axis dot horizontal, and children. For the children, what I'll do is I'll do something called a get date. Okay, and the first date would be 18, and maybe we'll have it as Tuesday. Okay, so this get date is a function that I'll be writing now to return a widget that will be one of the children. Okay, and after this I'll use a sized box width would be some 25 units. String day. Inside this, what I'll do is I'll return an animated container so that we get a nice looking effect. I'll show you. Instead of just returning a container, we'll use an animated container, and duration, I can specify duration milliseconds, some 500 maybe, and curves dot ease in, fine. And decoration would be box decoration, border radius dot circular 30.2, and color would be color will be changing, right, based on his choice. If he taps on one particular option, that option should get the black color, this black color, and the text inside that should become white. If he doesn't tap, then it should get like a grayish tint, and the text inside should be black plus gray, right? So this should be for this I'll write another function called, you understood why I did this, right? Whenever the user taps on that particular option, that option should get the color of you'll see that, guys. Wait, just give me a minute. After this border radius, I'll give a width for this particular container. Width will be 60, and height would once again be 60, and child will be an inkwell. On tap select date, pass in the date, fine. Now I'll write a function for selecting the date, select date, set state selected date equals date. One more function I'll write for color. For that, color switch color date, and if date equals selected date, return colors dot black dot width opacity 0.8, else return colors dot gray dot width opacity 0.2. okay. So we can dynamically set the color here now, and we also have an option to select the date. The next thing we'll do is we'll actually write how the date should look. Inside this inkwell, I'll have a child. The child will be a center, and that center will take in a column, child column. Inside this column, I'll write children. This is nothing but two text, guys. These two, 19 and Wednesday. So I'll just cut the video here and resume recording once I have done this. Fine, I have included the text. First is the date, and the second one is the day. Now we have another stuff for switching the content color as well, since this should be black and this should be white, right? So for this will be exactly similar to switch color. Save this. Let's see how this looks on our device. Cool, right? Now we have a set of options. Now let's just try tapping on 20th. Okay, I'm tapping on 20th, which is a Thursday. Wow, you can see that the selected option has now got the black color, and the text inside that particular option has turned white, whereas the the previous selected option has got the color gray, the grayish tint, with the inner text being black in color, right? I'll probably remove this height. Yeah, now it looks a little bit like the design spec, as we can see here. and similarly we can select the options, as you can see here, right? So you understand what I have done here, right? These three functions are simply for selecting the particular date, guys. This is the one that will actually select the date based on the whenever the user taps on that particular option, these two functions will switch the colors, and the switched color is what I am using inside the what's this, the options. The options, this is the color that changes the, this is where it gets the black or white color, and this is where it gets the blackish option that shows that the option is being selected, blackish color that shows the option is selected, or the grayish tint that shows the option is not selected, right? Once again, since we use this inside a animated container, we can get a smooth transition that happens over 500 milliseconds. So now you know how to select a particular option and store that value inside the selected date variable, right? We had that variable, where is it? Selected date variable, right? Let's go ahead and apply a similar logic to finish off the rest of the spec as well. This is nothing but a text, right? So I'll cut the video here and then resume recording as soon as I finish this. Fine, I have got this. Now notice that I have used letter spacing too, so that I can get some spacing like it's here in the design spec. If I hadn't used that, wait, I'll show you. You can see that the entire thing looks a bit congested, right? But if I give the letter spacing, then obviously there will be enough spacing between the letters so that it looks more like the one from the design spec. Probably they used a different font here. Anyway, these two are nothing but chips, right? And these are not the author probably, not the author, the user, the one who is making the appointment probably selected these options in the previous screen, since we don't have an option to select which style of haircut or which style of beard trimming that he wants to avail, right? So these are nothing but previously selected options, probably from a previous screen. Now what I'll do is, rather than using chips, I'll simply write these two inside two particular containers and then place it in a row here so that it looks more yeah, wait just a minute guys, give me a minute. I'll do that rather than talking about it. So after this I'll have a row, and inside this I'll have children, get service beards, and this I'll give it as $50, right? What was the price? $50. Let me check. Yeah, $50 for this. This is $15, and I'll have something more. This will be a true cut, and the price for this will be 15. So I'm going to be writing a get service function that will return a row containing all these three, wait, I'll show you, all these three components aligned one after the other. So that's exactly what I'm going to be doing. So I'll cut the video here and then resume recording. Alright, I have done that now. Let's see how that looks on our device. Cool, you can see that we have these two options exactly like in our design spec, and they come with the close button as well, right? Probably if you are writing this as an application instead of a UI screen challenge, whenever you tap on that close icon button, you should probably be able to dismiss that particular service from the list of selected options and update the price as well, total price as well. Anyway, let's move on to this component. This is another horizontally scrollable list which allows you to choose the stylist that you want to opt for, right? So here the user has selected someone called Jonathan, and there are two other options as well. So let's go ahead and create these now. This will be exactly similar to the one that we did. Anyway, let's do it rather than talking about it. So after this row, I'll have a sized box, height 15.2, and 175.2 of child, list view padding edge insets dot scroll direction fine. Now I have a container after that, and inside that container I have a list view, and that list view has 3 children, right? I'll write this get barber function now. This is a bit tricky, guys, so just watch carefully. Get barber. The tricky in the sense why I'm saying tricky is you should apply a either a backdrop filter or a container on top of it of a different color whenever the user tries to tap on that particular option, right? Just watch. Get barber string image path and one more string name. Fine. Return column. Inside this I'll simply children widget container height will be some 150.0 width some 150.0. This is nothing but the size of this particular image, okay, this entire square. And decoration box decoration border dot all, sorry, border radius dot circular 7.2 so that it gives a small rounded effect. Image decoration image asset image path fit box fit dot cover. Fine. Now that you have a way to place the image, then we'll place another container on top of this image on the exact specifications, on the exact dimensions. And wait, I'll show you. Now I'll place another ink will on tab select barber name and this child would be a container. This container would have height once again will be 150, width would be some 150 again, and decoration box decoration border radius dot circular once again 7.2. The only difference is we'll have a color. Get selected barber and I'll specify a name. So I need to write two functions, one for selecting the barber and one for placing the color here, okay, or on top of that, but you'll understand that, guys. Just give me a minute. Since this is a stack and literally we are stacking containers on top of one another, one of the containers contains the image and the other is nothing but a wait, I'll show you. what happened? Select barber name and set state selected barber equals name. Fine. Now we have written one function. The other function is get selected barber, right? This is nothing but a function that will return the color. Now let's save this and see how this looks on the device. Wow, you get a nice looking list view. Probably should have used a page view, right? Page view would have, yeah, anyway, we get a nice looking list view that has one selected just like we have in the design spec. Let's go ahead and try to select something else. Okay, I'll select gym now. Let's see what happens. You can see that the green color selection box has moved on to gym, right? If we select Anton, the green color selection box has moved on to Anton, and not only that, the selection on top of gym has vanished, right? How did this happen? Because we are using that, wait, where is it? The color is from this get selected barber, right? So this entire container is stacked on top of this container, right? This entire inkwell is stacked on top of this container, and since this has the same specifications, it takes up the same image size as well, right? So it's nothing but two boxes stacked on top of one another, and the topmost one is an inkwell. Whenever you tap on the topmost one, the name is automatically switched to the selected barber, right? We have a function that switches the name, and not only that, it automatically changes the color as well. Since it's written inside a set state, it will automatically change the color as well, which is why we are getting the either the greenish tint or the regular grayscale color whenever we tap on one of those options, right? So now we have a way to select which stylist you want to fix for your appointment as well, as given in the design spec, right? This is a simple yet effective way to make a selection and store that selection for later use, guys. There are obviously other ways to do this, but I felt that this was a way that everyone would find it easier to understand. So yeah, this is one way. And for selecting the time selection is exactly the same as this one. Okay, selecting the day rate, that's exactly the same process that we'll be using for time selection. The only difference would be we'll be using a lesser value of the border radius so that only the edges are rounded and not the entire option. So let's go ahead and I'll stop the video recording here and then resume it from where I have finished that entire time selection thing. Fine, as you can see here, I'm simply employing the same technique that I used for getting the date. So I have 4 children inside the list view, horizontally scrollable list view, and then I have 3 functions for switching the colors inside. One is for switching the color of this entire selected option. The other one is for switching the color inside this particular component. That is, here it's black color and here it's white, right? So I have done that as well. And the other one is for setting the selected time. Let's save this and see how this looks on our mobile device now. Wow, it looks really cool, right? Let's just try tapping on one of these and see what happens. Cool, right? As you can see, tapping on one option would select that particular option and automatically change the color of the time of the content inside that option as well. At the same time, it's deselecting the previous option, and this entire transition happens in a smooth way since I'm making use of an animated container. So now we have an option to enable the user to select the time as well, right, for booking. Now all we need is the last one, which is the button, a simple button, right? Now we have the button as well for booking the appointment. Now we have finished this entire design spec, right? Oh, there is a small option that denotes the total price. Fine, you try that on your own, guys. It's just using a stack and then placing that on top of this particular button. That's it, right? Anyway, we'll be having this total price in our next screen, right? So no issues now. Now we have this entire design spec, and we have not only have that entire design spec, we have the functional version of the entire design spec. These are not, I am not simply changing the colors, just the colors, guys. Wait, I'll show you. I think I haven't explained that properly, right? Now take any set state. Wait, let me take this get barber. Okay, get selected barber. Okay, here I'll just simply print selected barber, print selected date, print selected time. Fine. Now watch what happens. I'm saving this and I'll clear the debug console as well. Now just watch what happens whenever I try switching. I'm tapping on 20 Thursday now, and you get that entire thing, right? Jonathan 20 and 12:30. If I tap it to 13:30, Jonathan 20 and 13:30. If I tap Jim 20 and 13:30. So you have this entire set of values, the choices that the user made, that you can make use of later. So not only is this UI ready, this UI is also functional. You just need to populate it with data from your backend. That's it. Okay. Now you guys probably wondering why whenever I tap on one of the options, date options, probably when I'm tapping on 21 Friday, and it's printing something inside the get selected barber, which is not at all related to dates, right? This happens because whenever set state is invoked, it rebuilds the entire tree. Okay, so in order to prevent this, only stuff such as scoped model was in. If you had used a scoped model and used a scoped model descendant, then whenever a change occurs in one of the descendant, it will be notified along the scoped model, and that part of the tree alone will be rebuilt, leaving the other parts of the tree intact. So that was this is what scoped model and inherited widgets and block design patterns and everything were introduced just for this purpose. Okay. Anyway, so yeah guys, this is what I wanted to show you guys today. If you really like this video, kindly hit the thumbs up button. If you really like what I'm doing on this channel, kindly hit the subscribe button and click on the bell icon so that you receive notifications each and every time I upload a video. And share this video with someone else if you found this helpful, guys. Kindly subscribe to my channel. It's free, right? So just subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys in my next video. Bye.